Hi, and welcome to today's practice. This is our first full week of spring. And today's practice is about detox. And so we're going to be doing that, really helping the digestive system. A couple of things we're going to be doing is some twists, as well as using a blanket or a rolled up towel in some of our postures. So make sure you have that as a prop handy, and also at least one block, preferably two, because you may need them for a couple of our postures. Well, you will need them for one for sure. So gather those props, and we are going to get started here in just a minute. So spring is a great time for detoxing because as we move out of the heaviness of winter, we're moving away from the heavy foods of winter as well. And so moving into what's growing naturally would be the spring greens and the bitter greens and roots. And that helps to naturally detox the body. And so when we add that aspect into our practice, it's just very helpful to get us into our spring mode and releasing the heaviness and the toxins that we may have collected in our inertia through winter. So let's go ahead and get started in our practice and get on your mat. So starting in a seated position, you can utilize your blanket to prop your hips up a little higher than your knees to be a little more comfortable if you wish. And then just settle into your seat. We're going to begin with some breath work. So you can rock from side to side and really get settled into your position if you wish. We're going to just work a little bit with our hips just to be comfortable seated. So you can start windshield washing your knees from side to side as we did last week, just to get a little bit of ease in the hips before we sit for the breath work. And you can just rock your knees from side to side or begin to bring both shins all the way down to the mat as you become a little more open in the hips. And then come into your cross-legged position or sitting on your heels or a block and just rocking back and forth. Hands can be on your knees, just rounding the spine and drawing the spine forward, back and forth, and then also doing the same from side to side. Lifting up one arm and coming into a side bend and then over to the other side. Just finding a little bit of ease for our seat, for our pranayama. And just continue with that a couple more times, making a little bit of space in the upper body for our breath. And then come to center. Take a nice big inhale and feel your breath in your belly. We're going to get started with Kapalabhati, but let's just find our breath to start here. We're going to do 3 rounds of Kapalabhati, starting nice and slow for the first round. So remember, the exhale is your active breath. The inhale happens on its own. So hearing the breath on the exhale. Keep going with your pace of breath, keeping it slow for this first round. We've got 2 more to go. And we're just forcing out the exhale, getting rid of all the stale air. And then on your next inhale deeply and retain the breath at the top of the inhale. You can have your arms out to the side with thumbs up if you wish, or hands on your thighs. Keep retaining the inhale if you can. Building prana in the heart center, and then slowly exhaling out the nose. Let your arms come down. And if you want to rock a little bit from side to side or front to back, find that breath in the belly. And then we're going to start our second round of Kapalabhati. You might stay slow or you might move a little bit faster this time, depending how you're feeling. So it's the low belly that draws in and forces out the exhale, forcing out all that stale air. Releasing the toxins in our breath is one of the ways we release toxins in the body. So keep moving with your Kapalabhati, your forced exhale, from the low belly and allowing the inhale to pour in on its own. And then exhale everything out. Inhale a deep breath. Hold the breath either with arms extended or hands released to your thighs or knees. Keep holding the breath, retaining that life force, that prana, and then slowly exhale out your nose. If you're sitting cross-legged, change the cross of your legs before we move into our third and final round of Kapalabhati. Do any movements that feel right for you before we move into our final round. And then settle and come back to your breath. Taking a nice big inhale and beginning. And this time might be a little bit faster, or you might stay at a slower pace, whatever is right for your body. And it's all initiated from the low belly, below the belly button. Keeping the spine tall, allowing the inhale to pour in on its own without effort. And then take one big inhale for retention, either arms straight out from the shoulders or hands on your knees, holding the breath, retaining the prana, building the prana. Keep it retained a little longer if you're able, building capacity here. And then slowly exhale out the nose. Release your hands down if they were extended. And we're making our way onto hands and knees just for a little bit of cat-cow, releasing any stiffness in the spine, in the hips, in the shoulders, in the neck. And the inhale draws the heart forward, and the exhale draws the belly in as head drops. So we're working with tilting in the pelvis in both directions, as well as rounding and extending the spine. Keep moving a couple more breaths. Really concentrating on drawing the belly in muscularly as you exhale, feeling that contraction of the belly towards the spine, the navel center towards the spine. And your next exhale, find your way into child's pose. Come up onto your tippy fingers, elbows lifted up off the mat, extending and creating length in the side body. And then elbows bent, rise up into your cow pose. Use your exhale to oscillate into child's pose. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhale, cow pose, heart comes forward. Exhale, belly draws in, sit bones towards the heels. Inhale, rise up, cow. And exhale back, child's pose, or whatever version of child's pose works for your body today. And this time as you inhale to cow, we're using our exhale to find our way into downward facing dog. If you're working with wrist or shoulder issues, you can continue between child's pose and cow pose. Those of us in down dog, shift and move however you need to move the body to find some comfort in your down dog. And then use your bottom of your exhale to step to the top of your mat. The inhale lifts the heart into halfway lift. Exhale, belly draws in, we bow. Inhale, press into the floor and rise up, reach up all the way to the sky and draw into your heart center. So throughout our practice today, those of you again with wrist problems, we're often just stepping back into our standing postures, so you can step forward into mountain pose rather than go through the flow and downward dog, as we will be doing occasionally through our practice. So lots of option. Or you can also move back into child's pose. So taking your blanket now, we're rolling up the blanket and we're moving into chair pose with the blanket right tucked into the belly. So your feet are hip width apart here, and adjust the roll of your blanket if you need to pause and find that roll so that you can feel pressure in the belly without feeling uncomfortable. And then sit down into your low chair pose here. Arms can be extended or on your hips. Drawing the hands through heart center, we're moving into a gentle twist. So our feet are wide here for this first twisting to the right. I'm just going to turn so you can see. This first round, we're just going to catch the elbow as we twist right on the inside of that left knee. So not going into a full rotation twist. Coming back to center. And then exhaling to the left. And again, just catching the inside of that right knee as we twist to the left. So not to worry, you're going to get a second round to go all the way. Come back to center and exhale, release into your forward fold. And you might just keep your elbows on your knees in this forward fold because you still have the roll in the belly. So take the position that best works for you without forcing and causing discomfort. Inhale, halfway lift. And then coming back into our low chair pose, sink your hips. So you might do the second or the first version of our twist and the inside of that left knee as we twist right, or you might bring the elbow all the way to the outside of that right knee. Remember, you've got that roll in your belly, so we're not looking about how far you can go, but what is working for you. Come back to center and exhale left. Again, choice to come to the inside of that right knee or all the way to the outside of the left knee as you move into your revolved chair pose. Allow yourself to breathe the belly into the roll. Exhale back to center, and we're coming into our forward fold. Also, you can have hands on your or elbows on your knees or hands on your thighs, or you can release all the way forward into your Uttanasana forward fold, depending how that roll feels in your belly. Take what works for you. Breathing into the belly, feeling that compression like a massage for the digestive organs. And then inhale, halfway lift, release your blanket and fold forward. Feel that spaciousness that you have now without the blanket. Inhale, halfway lift once again. Step back with the right foot, coming into a lunge. Drop the back knee and inhale, rise up in your low lunge. Hands can be on your knees or reaching to the sky, opening the front body after that compression. Release the hands down to the mat, lift the back knee and step it forward to meet your left foot. And then let's do the opposite side, stepping left foot back into our lunge, dropping the back knee, and then rising up either hands to knees or reaching to the sky in our low lunge, opening the front body on the other side. Maybe looking up, giving that uplifting energy here. Exhale through heart center, hands to the floor, and step back to downward dog. Those of you with wrist issues, step up into Tadasana or mountain pose. And some of you might even choose child's pose to remain there. Otherwise, we inhale forward to plank. And then we're lowering down either through plank or knees, chin, chest, as I'm demonstrating here. Draw the heart forward as you inhale, tops of the feet press down, pubic bone presses down, hands lightly supporting. Exhale, release the forehead down. Maybe rock the hips from side to side. And then inhale, lift the heart, draw it forward. Exhale, forehead touches back down. Let's do one more like that. Inhale, lengthen the spine as the heart draws forward. We lift into cobra. And exhale, back down. And then press up and back, child's pose. Just getting the spine warmed up here. Maybe you like to rock from side to side in your child's pose. If that feels good for you, just an invitation. And just finding your breath here, feeling that compression on the belly here again. We inhale up into tabletop. So a couple of options here. You can work from tabletop for this next series or find your way into downward facing dog, whichever better suits your body. Inhale the right leg up. And those of you in down dog, hop your standing foot towards your wrist and hop it back. Exhale, draw the right knee to the chest. Inhale, reach it up 3 times like this. Exhale, opposite elbow. Inhale, reach that leg up. Exhale, right elbow. Inhale, reach it up. This time we step it up between our hands. Pivot the back foot down for warrior 1. Rise up into your warrior 1. Lift the gaze slightly. Reach the arms to the sky, either fingertips together, intertwining your fingers or arms wide. Take one more breath and then release your arms out to the side, elbows bent, palms facing up. Each inhale, lift the heart a little higher, possibly adding a breath retention at the top of the inhale, just for a beat or two. And stay here for one more breath, and then exhale, hands to heart center, down to the mat, step back, down dog or tabletop, depending which pose you're working from. Let's come forward to plank. Exhale to lower, your choice to lower down. Uncurl the toes. Coming into Salabhasana, reaching the arms out to the side, back behind you, possibly floating the legs up off the floor, reaching the legs so long they lift up on their own. Exhale, release everything down. Press up and back, child's pose. Take a breath here, feel the compression on the belly, like we're squeezing out a sponge. And then again, second round, either from tabletop or down dog. Left leg floats up, three-legged dog. Keep that leg up as you hop on your standing leg towards your wrist and then hop it back. Reach the leg up, draw knees to nose. Inhale up, exhale knee to left elbow. Inhale up, exhale knee right elbow. Inhale up, exhale, step it up between your hands, warrior one, second side. Press into the floor as you rise up, reach up, lift the gaze. And then again, option to add breath retention to the top of your inhales if you choose to do that, building prana in the heart center. One more breath with arms reaching up, and then exhale, arms out to the side, elbows bent, palms facing up to receive. Again, opportunity for inhale retention if that suits you. Staying with strong legs and lifted heart center, building prana here as we open the front body at the same time. And then exhale, hands to your heart center, hands down to the floor. And step back, downward facing dog, or stepping up to the top of your mat for mountain pose or child's pose. Choosing the pose that's appropriate for what's happening in your body. Moving through a vinyasa, if you choose that, coming forward to plank, lowering down, a second round of Salabhasana to open the front body, maybe intertwining the fingers behind you as legs lift, heart lifts. And release everything down. If you choose, you can do a second round of Salabhasana or move into bow pose if your body is ready for this. Grabbing the ankles, opening the heart, opening the shoulders, lifting the thighs, maybe even add a rock from front to back, slowly releasing down. And then pressing up and back, child's pose to release your back, regardless of which heart opening pose you chose through that series. Coming back to the compression of the belly on the thighs. And inhale up to tabletop. Exhale to down dog if that is appropriate for you before stepping to the top of your mat on your exhale. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, press into the feet as you rise all the way up. Circle the arms wide, reach high, and draw into your heart center. Take a breath here. Now we're going to come into something called Nali. And so this is working with the muscles of the belly to create a massage for the digestive organs. I'm just trying to find the right angle so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to use breath retention on the bottom of the exhale. So as we exhale, we draw the belly towards the spine, retain the breath, and then suck the belly in and up. Retain the exhale with the belly drawn in and up. And then when you need to release the belly first before you allow the inhale to pour in. So take a couple breaths and then we're going to do another round. And now I'm going to add another option in here for you. We can add the pumping action of Kapata on our retention if you choose. So exhale everything out, suck the belly in and up, and now either hold the belly there or pump, retaining the exhale through the whole series. Retaining the exhale, pumping the belly just like you do in Kapata. And then release the belly. Inhale, draws in on its own. You can come upright or stay in the position with hands on your thighs or knees if you wish. I've chosen to come back up into Tadasana. So this is some of the beginnings of Nali, which is that massage using the abdominal muscles to massage the digestive organs. Let's do one last round. You choose if you want to pump or just retain. So at the bottom of the exhale, retain the exhale, suck the belly in and up, still holding the breath out, and then either adding the pumping or just staying with the breath retention with belly sucked in and out. Remember, when it's time to release the belly first and allow the breath to pour in on its own. Rise up into mountain pose. Come back to your normal breath. Feel the effects of that action on the digestive organs. Let's inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Step the right foot back and pivot that foot down and rise up into Warrior Two. So we're going to move through a series of flowing standing poses different than we normally do. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Make space for the breath here. Open the side body. We're going to be working with side body here a lot in the next little while. And then we're coming into something called skater's pose. Draw the toes in a little bit. Reach the arms forward. Crouch low. Pivot to the back of your mat. Coming into crescent pose. And then from crescent, we're moving into Warrior Three, one of my nemesis poses. Hopefully you can do better than me. Release the floating leg down into chair pose. And then step the right foot back. So we're moving in the other direction, coming into your Warrior Two position, opposite side, facing the back of your mat. Inhale, peaceful warrior. We're going to move back through that same series. Make space on the left side body in your peaceful warrior or reverse warrior. And then finding your skater's pose. Sink the hips low, reach the arms forward, pivot all the way to the front of your mat, coming into crescent. Hands at your heart center. And then shifting forward into Warrior Three. Again, do better than me here on this side. Release the floating leg, chair pose. And rise up, mountain pose. So we're going to repeat that series. If you were a little confused, we're going to repeat it a couple times. Sit down, chair pose. Step the left foot back this time, Warrior Two. And then moving directly into peaceful warrior, stretching through the side body, and skater's pose. Sink low, reach out, pivot low with the hips to the back of your mat. Crescent pose, preparing to move into Warrior Three. And then release that foot into chair pose, sit down. We're going to step the left foot back. Opening up for Warrior Two. And then moving into peaceful warrior. Again, side body stretch. Moving into skater's pose. Sink the hips low. Flow to the front of your mat. Crescent pose, pivoting onto the toes of the back foot. And then Warrior Three. Lots of opportunity. Release the foot down, chair pose. Rise up, mountain pose. Beautiful work. Let's do it again. Sink into chair pose. Step the right foot back. Open to Warrior Two. Adjust your stance if you need to. Move into peaceful warrior. Stretch through the side body. Prepare for skater's pose. Reach it forward, hips low. Pivot all the way to the back of your mat into crescent. Hands at heart center. Shift into warrior 3. If you don't stick it, that's okay. Release the foot down into chair pose. We get to practice this many times today. Step left foot back. Pivot the heel down for warrior 2. And then moving into your peaceful warrior on an inhale. Side body opening. Skater's pose. Arms reach to the back of your mat. Pivot low into crescent on the top of your mat. Hands at heart center. Or you might reach your arms up to the sky and move into warrior 3 with arms reaching forward. Or hands at heart center or along your side. Release that left foot down into chair pose. And rise up, mountain pose. Beautiful. You're getting the hang of it. Let's inhale, reach up, sit down, chair pose. This time we step the left foot back into our warrior 2. And then the inhale brings us to peaceful warrior, side body opening. Skater's pose, reach wide, hips low, swivel to the back of your mat into crescent, hands at heart center or reaching overhead. Shifting into warrior 3. And then the right foot releases into chair pose. Left foot steps back for warrior 2. The inhale brings you to peaceful warrior. And then skater's pose on your exhale. Pivot to the front of your mat. Sweep it into crescent pose. And then shifting into warrior 3. Chair pose. Release the foot down. This time we fold forward, Uttanasana, to release that series. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back, down dog, or some of you may step to mountain pose or child's pose. Take a breath or two in whichever pose you've chosen. You might choose to take a flow here, a vinyasa, or you might choose to stay where you are. And then we'll move into dolphin pose. So if you've chosen to move into dolphin, let's lift the left leg high, keeping the head off of the floor in dolphin. Release that foot down. Let's lift the right leg high, opening front body here, strengthening through the shoulders and creating heat in these last few postures. From dolphin, you can release into dolphin plank. And then slowly lower, keeping the spine long, drawing the elbows towards your hips into Sphinx pose. Tops of the feet are pressing down, creating length in the spine by drawing the elbows gently back towards the hips. And then curl your toes under, slowly curl the belly up and come back into dolphin, walk it up, or come into child's pose. Again, bringing that compression of thighs to belly if you're in child's pose. Forehead on the mat. And then we inhale up into table. Exhale, down dog if that is an appropriate pose for wrists and shoulders. You can also stay in tabletop. Inhale, right leg up. We come back into our little hop series. Exhale, hop it back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Let's do second side. Left leg, three-legged dog. Hop right foot towards the wrist. Hop it back. Exhale, knee to nose. Release that foot down. Step both feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, reach wide, rise high, look to the sky, draw to your heart center. Let's pause in mountain pose. We're going to move into a second flowing series of standing poses, a little different than we normally do. Exhale, sit down, chair pose. Step the right foot back for warrior 2. In our warrior two, reach both arms to the sky, lengthening up in our warrior two position. And then inhale, reach the left arm forward. Exhale, come up. Maybe reach both arms forward into a version of side angle. Inhale, come up. Straighten that front leg. Turn both feet parallel. And turn your right foot to the back of your mat, coming into warrior two, second side, reaching arms to the sky. So we're going to do one arm side angle, reaching to the sky, to the wall behind us. Come back upright, reach both arms up. Maybe reaching both arms into side angle. Come back up. We're going to repeat this a few times. Coming to center, feet parallel. Pause here before we go into our next round. Turn left toes to the top of your mat. This time triangle. Reach the left arm forward in a half triangle. Inhale, come up. Reach both arms up, possibly reaching both arms as we move into a variation of triangle. If this is too much, bring that back arm to your side. So second side, we rotate the feet parallel. Rotate right foot to the back of your mat. So one arm triangle, reach it long, create length in that right side body. Your left hand can remain on your hip here. Come upright, reach both arms up. See if this is appropriate for you. We're going to reach both arms into triangle pose. If it's too much, bring that left arm back to your hip. Inhale, come up to center. Release the arms down. Turn the feet parallel. Turn the left foot to the top of your mat. So we're going into our first series here. Reach both arms up. One arm side angle. Reach both arms up. Two arm side angle. Both arms up. One arm triangle. Both arms up. Two arm triangle. Both arms up. Feet become parallel to the long side of your mat. Turn the right toes to the back of your mat. Reach both arms up. One arm side angle. Reach both arms up. Two arm side angle. Reach both arms up. Straighten the front leg. One arm triangle. Reach both arms up. Two arm triangle variation. Both arms up. Release your hands down. Feet parallel to the long side of your mat. Pause here, feeling all of the heating of the body, starting this natural detox process with the pumping. Hands to your hips. Let's inhale, open the front body. Exhale, fold forward. Wide-legged forward fold. You can have hands on your calves, on your ankles, or grab your big toes with your peace fingers. Release the top of your head to the mat. Keep the breath flowing, staying attached to your ujjayi breath. You can also release hands to the mat if that's appropriate for you here in this pose. Inhale, halfway lift, hands back to your hips, rise all the way up. Turn your left toes to the top of your mat and step up into mountain pose. Take a couple breaths here. Again, feeling the heating action, that pumping of the side body, that activation of the side body has created as we work through this natural detox process. So we're going to move through another standing series of poses that incorporate some balance. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, sit down, chair pose. Step the right foot back and come into warrior three. Release the foot down, chair pose. And then bring weight into the right foot. We're coming into revolved hand to knee pose, balancing. Exhale, sit down, chair pose. This time we step left foot back into warrior three. Step into chair pose. Weight into the left foot now. Open into hand to knee pose, revolved, twisting to the right. Sit down chair pose. We're going to do this again in case you got lost. Warrior 3, right foot reaches back. Step it into chair pose. Weight into the right foot. Left knee rises, revolved, hand to knee or hand to foot, whatever is appropriate for you. Sit down chair pose. This time, left foot comes back into warrior 3 position. Do better than me. It's always my struggle on my right foot balance. Sit down chair pose. This time, weight into the left foot, revolved hand to knee. Right foot comes up or hand to foot. Again, do better balance than me. Sit down chair pose. Right foot back for warrior 3. Float it up. Hands to heart center or reaching straight forward. Sit down chair pose. And then weight to the right foot. Left foot rises. Hand to knee or hand to foot. Not happening for me today. Sit down chair pose. And then release into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step the right foot back and come up into your warrior 2 position. Now we're going to move into a variation of half moon pose without touching your hands down. So hands to your hips and come into the shape of half moon pose. You can use your hands to support your standing leg there. And step the back foot back. Hands to your heart center, pivot onto your back toes into crescent moon pose. And we're moving into a twist. Shift the torso forward, twist to your left, maybe catching your elbow on that knee, or forearm can be on that knee with hand on your hip. You also have option to open the arms wide here in your twist. Your next exhale, hands to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Option to flow, option to stay in down dog, option to even stay in mountain pose. Choosing your back bend if you are flowing. And meeting back in down dog. Step your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise up. Reach to the sky and draw in through your heart center. So we're moving into our half moon little series here with our second side. So stepping left foot back into warrior 2 position. Hands to your hips. Your right hand can be on that right thigh as you float it up into a no hands half moon pose, and you can press that right hand into that thigh to help support you in your half moon. And we're going to step that floating foot back into crescent moon. Or you can also use the wall for support here as I'm demoing here. You could also use a block for support and step that floating foot back. So now we pivot onto the back ball of the foot, hands to your heart center, and twisting to your right this time, either catching the elbow on the outside of the knee, hands at heart center, or opening the arms wide. Also option to have that left forearm on that right knee and the right hand on your right hip. Let's exhale, release hands to the floor, step back, down dog. Some of you may step up to mountain pose. Some of you might take child's pose. And some of you might take this opportunity to flow and flush this out, meeting us back in downward facing dog or child's pose. Let's come to the top of our mat. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise up. Reach to the sky and draw through your heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sit down. Keep going all the way down into a low chair pose, as low as you can go. Hands to your heart center, pressing the arms into the knees, drawing the knees together, hands at heart center, and then release the seat down to the floor. So grab your blanket here again. We're going to do a seated twist. You might need to adjust the thickness of the roll that you have here, because this is again going to go into kind of the crease and press into the belly. So you have option for our seated twist to have your bottom leg, in this case it's the right leg, straight, and we're bringing that left knee bent, or you might keep the bottom leg bent underneath you. You choose what's appropriate, but the blanket is between your left thigh and the belly, and we're twisting to the left. So if you need to pause to adjust the blanket, just pause us for a second. And as you're twisting, as you inhale, feel the belly press into the blanket press into the belly. The more you draw the thigh in towards your belly, the more you'll feel this compression on the digestive organs, giving a massage and helping to squeeze out all the toxins of the torso. Release to center. Inhale nice and tall, and release your legs straight. Shake it out. We're going to move to second side. Adjust your blanket as you need to, this time coming a little more into the right side. And then you choose if that left leg is going to be straight in front of you with the right leg crossed over, or if the left leg is under you. And then move the thigh away from the belly. Tuck that blanket in there and draw the thigh in towards your torso. Sit up nice and straight. We're twisting to the right this time. And again, as you inhale, feel that compression. The breath flowing. Every breath feeling that compression with the blanket tucked in between you there. One more breath, and then exhale to center. Take a nice deep inhale. Release the legs straight out in front of you. Release your blanket and come into a gentle forward fold. Not forcing, just releasing any tension. Let's roll down onto the back. And we're just coming into a mini shavasana after all of that heating and pumping action. Just opening the front body and allowing everything to flow in. Through the groins, through the torso, through all the digestive organs. Nice breath here in our mini shavasana. And staying here for just a few more breaths. And then we're going to draw your knees into your chest. Rock from front to back. And coming all the way up to a seat. And then making your way up to mountain pose. I had a little minor distraction with my puppy, but we're going to use our blanket again. Find your blocks, find your blanket, come up into mountain pose however you need to get there. We are moving to the real shavasana shortly, but you just had a little mini break there. So with your blanket and your blocks at the top of your mat in mountain pose, we're going to be moving into pyramid pose next. So the blanket again is going to come into the belly area. Adjusting your roll. We're going to start with the roll of our blanket on the left side, and we're going to step the right foot back. And again, if you don't have your blocks, have them at the top of your mat. So right foot back toes are angled in slightly, hips are facing forward. The roll is in the kind of the hip crease of the left leg. Sorry, I've had a lot of distractions. So long through the heart center, through the belly, through the spine, we fold forward into pyramid. So you can have your hands on your blocks here, and you might just come to your torso being parallel to the floor. Some of you might fold over that front leg, and if you need to pause to adjust how thick you have your roll, go ahead and do that. And just feel the breath into the belly here with that roll compressing the digestive organs again. And from here, bring the left hand to your left hip, right hand to a block or fingertips to the floor for revolved triangle. So we're adding a twist into this abdominal compression. Stay in your twist for a few more breaths if you're able to, and your left hand can just be on your left hip, or it might be reaching to the sky. You choose what's appropriate for you, trying to square the hips by drawing the right hip forward and the left hip back, breathing into the compression of the belly. And then releasing both hands down, step it forward into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow slightly and rise up. Grab your blanket as you come into Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a couple breaths in your mountain pose before we switch to our second side. Again, adjusting your blocks if you need to, and you know where we're going now. Stepping the left foot back, the roll comes into the groin or the space between thigh and belly here. And then folding forward into pyramid pose, starting out with hands on blocks, spine, torso parallel to the floor, and then choosing if you wish to fold further over the front leg. Again, hands can be on the floor or on your blocks here. You choose the appropriate amount of forward fold that you take in this pose. And then inhale to bring your spine parallel before we move into revolved triangle. Left hand to your block, either inside the foot, which is a little more accessible, or outside the front foot. Right hand can be on your right hip or reaching up to the sky. Draw the right hip back, the left hip forward. Breathe into that compression of your rolled up blanket. One more inhale. And exhale, release both hands down, step it forward. Release your blanket as you forward fold, and then stepping back, downward facing dog if that's appropriate, or tabletop if that's where you need to go. And in your down dog, just take a couple breaths there. If you're in tabletop or child's pose, take a couple breaths, and then we're making our way forward into Sphinx pose. So onto the forearms, onto the elbows, come forward, pelvis is down, legs are engaged and lengthening, and the heart is drawing forward. So keeping the spine long so there's no compression in the spine, almost as though you're drawing your elbows back towards your hips. And now we can have an option here to turn your toes under and lift up, curl the belly in, curl the spine up, and slowly with mindfulness, release and lower down, release the toes long. So let's try that again, and you might keep your toes curled under as though you were in upward facing dog, and release back down into Sphinx. If you have trouble with your toes cramping, keep the toes curled under. So we're doing this 3 times, curling the belly in and up, curling up the spine, lifting everything up off the floor, and then releasing down Sphinx. On your 3rd time, release all the way down. Forehead to rest on the back of your hands. Maybe windshield washing your shins from side to side. Maybe rocking your hips from side to side. And now grabbing your rolled up blanket. We're going to place the blanket under the belly and come back down into your Sphinx pose. So take a moment to position that blanket, so that again, we have that little bit of support and pressure under the belly in your Sphinx pose. So just breathing into it here, elbows under shoulders or slightly further ahead if you need a little more space. And creating the action of drawing elbows towards hips to keep the spine long so you're not compressing in the low back. Toes reaching long, legs reaching long. Breathing into your compression of the blanket. And then releasing into Makrasana. So weight coming onto the elbows, forehead onto the forearms or the back of your hands. And again, breathing into the belly, creating this massage in the digestive organs. And just like a sponge, when it's compressed, when you release it, there is a whole flow of fluids coming back into the tissues. Release your hands under your shoulders, and we're going to do 3 rounds of cobra on our blanket. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, release the forehead down. Keep the legs long, pubic bone pressing down. Inhale, rise up, cobra. Exhale, come down. One more time. Inhale, rise up, your cobra hood wide and expansive. Exhale, release the forehead down. This time we're pressing up and back. Child's pose. We're done with your blanket. Release the back. If child's pose is not appropriate for you, you can also just rise upright on your knees or come into tabletop for a couple of rounds of cat-cow. From here, we're coming to a seat. Grab a block to have it handy within reach as we lie down on your back for bridge pose. Before we move into bridge, let's draw the knees in towards the chest and just give a little rock from side to side, massaging the back body. Giving yourself a hug. And then release the soles of both feet to the mat, knees bent. Feet, ankles under your knees. And we're preparing to rise up for bridge pose. So we're going to do 2 rounds of bridge. The first round, you can choose to bend the elbows, point the fingers to the ceiling, or go into the more traditional bridge pose of lifting the hips and intertwining fingers under the hips, if that's appropriate for you. Or keep elbows bent, fingers pointing up, pressing elbows into the floor. Some of you might even lift the hips high enough that you can support your hips with your hands under the sacrum. Some of you may choose to move into a supported bridge for our first round by placing a block under the sacrum, the bony part of the sacrum. You choose which bridge pose is appropriate for you. We are going to do a second round, so you will have option for a different variation on the second round. Whichever variation you're in, staying with your breath, making sure that none of your cervical or neck vertebra are on the floor. All of your neck spine should be lifted up. On your next exhale, slowly release down out of your bridge pose. Take a few breaths before we do second round. And I'm going to give you some options for your second round. You can either move into supported bridge and supported shoulder stand. Some of you might want to move directly into plow pose and shoulder stand, those of you who are practicing that. I'm going to be demoing the supported version. So take another breath here before we move into our second round and second variation. So moving into bridge and then choosing to place your block or your prop that you're using underneath the bony part of the sacrum and the back of the hips here. And then drawing the knees in, raising the soles of the feet up to the sky in this gentle inversion of supported bridge. So you can stay here in this supported bridge for a few rounds. And as I said, some of you might move into shoulder stand by moving into plow, reaching the toes, the feet overhead, hands coming to the back of the hips, and then moving into your shoulder stand variation. So I'm going to choose to move into the supported shoulder stand. You choose the appropriate version for you today. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. We moved a lot of things around the body in this pumping and heating action through our standing flows, through our twists, through our compression. And so now we're just reversing gravity and allowing everything to flow. Release effort. Release the heating of the breath. And just find that ease. Let's find some stillness. For part of the detox process is letting go. Letting go of CO2 on the exhales of our breath. And then we slowly begin to make our way out of whichever pose that you chose. If you were in supported bridge, release your feet to the floor, knees bent, pausing there before you lift the hips and slide your prop out, very slowly lowering all the way down. Those of you in supported or in shoulder stand, slowly make your way through plow and down. And just pausing here, knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. And then when you're ready, slowly draw the right knee in towards the chest and extend the left leg long down onto the mat. Our final bit of compression on the torso, on the digestive process in Apanasana. And then extend that right leg up to the sky, hands to the back of your thigh. Press the thigh into the hands. This is a little reset for the sacrum, for the pelvis. So we actively press into the hands and press hands into the thigh. And then draw both knees in here. Holding on to the left, extending right leg long in Apanasana, second side. Just pausing here for a little bit of stillness. And releasing the sole of the foot up to the sky. Hands come to the back of the thigh. Press the thigh away from you into your hands and resist with the hands. Resetting the sacrum and the pelvis. And then release the sole of both feet down to the mat, knees bent. Draw the knees in. We rock from side to side. And when you feel ready, we're going to release into a twist. Arms wide, knees to the side. I've chosen to roll knees to the right side, looking left. And releasing effort here. Practicing that process of letting go. As we begin to release tension in our muscles, in our tissues, it allows the body to release toxins that may be held there, that may be stuck there. Come back to center, rock from side to side, and when you're ready, release knees to your opposite side. Let your head roll opposite your knees if that's comfortable for your neck. You can have your hand on the outside of your top thigh if that's comfortable for you, or both arms just simply extended straight out from your shoulders. Again, consciously sending your awareness to release any tension that you might be holding. Maybe it's your outer hips, maybe it's in your belly, maybe it's in your chest or your shoulders or your neck. Conscious awareness to release the tension, and in the process, releasing the held toxins. Come back to center, rock from side to side, and then slowly making your way into Shavasana. If you need socks, blankets, props, sweaters, take a moment to find all of that. If you need to pause while you gather and get comfortable, go ahead and pause the recording. As you extend long, we're just going to go through some little exercises, reaching through your right heel, making that leg as long as you can, and then releasing. And then reaching through the left heel, making that long leg as long as you can. You can even bring your hands to your hip points so that you can feel as you shift, lengthening the right leg, you might feel the left hip point rise up, and vice versa. Do that a couple times to each side, and then release the legs. And then let's move to the arms. Reach your right arm long towards your feet, and release it back. And then the left. And then the next round, as you reach the right arm long, you might shrug the left shoulder up towards your ear. And then move to the second side. Releasing both arms and shoulders neutral now. Turn your head to one side, releasing the neck, and then turn the head to the other side. Lift your chin slightly in center. Press the head back into your mat. And then release your chin down towards your chest slightly and press your head back into your mat. And then bring your head to a neutral position. Press the back of the skull into your mat. And then release all action. Release all movement. Release all trying. Release all tension. Deep breath into your belly. And as you exhale, begin to allow your belly to release to the earth. Allow yourself to be supported. Allow yourself to find peace and stillness here for the next few moments. And as you allow a softening of the body, a quieting of the mind, find your stillness and allow the tissues of the body to rejuvenate, to rest. As you begin to bring awareness to your breath, allow your inhales to draw prana all the way down to the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. And as that prana, that life force, reaches your toes and your fingers, allow it to bring gentle movements as awareness comes back into the body. Eventually that movement brings the soles of the feet to the mat as knees bend, and eventually finding your way into fetal position. On your way up to finding a seat. Now some of you may choose to stay lying on your back, and that is just fine. Some of you might choose to move to a chair, and some of you might sit up on a prop. But as you find your way to your meditation seat, take a moment to settle, whatever that position is for you today. Make whatever movements and adjustments that you need to make to feel grounded and settled. Your spine long. The parts of you touching the earth grounded. And then bring your hands just alongside your side of your head, not touching, just the palms an inch or two away. And then slowly draw your hands to center in front of your forehead as you exhale. So we're gathering our thoughts and draw into your heart center. And then let's repeat that. Bring the palms just to the side of the head without touching. You might even feel some tingling in your palms here as you do this. Gathering your thoughts, your energy of the mind, and slowly exhale, hands to center in front of your forehead. Take an inhale here. And slowly exhale, hands to your heart center, gathering the energy and the thoughts and the mind to your center. Release your hands to your knees here, index fingers to touch your thumb, palms either facing down or up. And then moving into alternate nostril breath. So start by blocking the left nostril and inhaling up through the right. And switch to exhale out the left. Stay here as you inhale. And then switch to exhale out the right. As you continue with this alternate nostril breath, imagine as you inhale through the right, you're inhaling healing white energy and light. And as you exhale out the left, releasing negativity, judgment, anger. As you inhale left, inhale white energy and healing light through the left side of your body. And as you exhale right, exhale anger, fear, worry, tension out the right side of your body. Inhale right side, healing light and energy, the whole right side of your body. Exhale left, judgment, self-criticism, shame and guilt. Inhale left side body, left nostril, healing white energy. Exhale right, any negative thoughts that you may still be harboring. The inhale brings in healing white light and energy. The exhale releases the toxins of the mind, the spirit, and the body. Continue with this process on your own. can, release the alternate nostril breath as you complete your last round. Release both hands to your knees or thighs, index fingers touching the thumb, palms facing up. And just sit here for a moment with your noticing, with awareness to how the mind feels, the thoughts that are passing, how the body feels, how your energy feels. As we continue to sit for just a few moments longer, noticing the thoughts that come and go, and being reminded that it is our toxic thoughts that can give us issues in our tissues. So as we keep this in mind, in our awareness, I will leave you with a mantra meditation by Autumn O'Kane from last spring. As I say each phrase, repeat it to yourself mentally, silently. Do not burden your mind with useless thoughts. Do not burden your mind with useless thoughts. Do not burden your mind with useless thoughts. Do not brood about the past. Do not brood about the past. Do not brood about the past. Why do we fret about the future? Why do we fret about the future? Why do we fret about the future? Live in the simplicity of the present moment. Live in the simplicity of the present moment. Live in the simplicity of the present moment. Deeply rooted in this present moment. Deeply rooted in this present moment. Deeply rooted in this present moment. With a clear, open, spacious mind. With a clear, open, spacious mind. With a clear, open, spacious mind. Seeing beyond doubt and fear, abiding in the luminous heart of equanimity. Seeing beyond doubt and fear, abiding in the luminous heart of equanimity. Seeing beyond doubt and fear, abiding in the luminous heart of equanimity. The way unfolds before me. The way unfolds before me. The way unfolds before me. Slowly, as you inhale, bring your hands to your heart center. And a deep exhale out your mouth. We take one more inhale to Om to seal our practice today. Om. Namaste and have a wonderful day.